Many people are enjoying fried foods for their taste and their texture, but what are the hidden dangers when using reused cooking oil?
Okay, so this is a common practice, and we know this is common here in Grenada. But what happens is when you use the oil more than maybe 2 or 3 times, the oil actually starts to break down. That high heat, because most all oils have a what we call a smoke point, which is the temperature, the highest temperature it can take before it starts to degrade. So and because we use mostly vegetable oils, corn oil and oils like that, those oils, the temperature that temperature for them, the smoke point will be about 232 degrees Celsius or about 450 degrees Fahrenheit. When we reuse the oil and reuse the oil and they keep getting heated at these high temperatures, the oil starts breaking down and they form both physical and chemical break changes. So you have the oil getting darker, so you can actually see what the change is. And then the oil also would release certain types of substances that can be cancer causing, that can lead to changes in all the development of trans fatty acids, which can contribute to increasing people's bad cholesterol, the LDL, whereas it would decrease the high density lipoproteins, which are the healthier cholesterol, right? So this can lead to heart disease. The trans fatty acids in itself can make those changes, and those are not trans fatty acids that are naturally in a piece of meat. This is being created as that oil is being reused and reused and reused. And so you also have studies show that the long-term consumption of these foods that are heated in these oils, because when you buy food, you don't ask the person, when did you change the oil? You just buy the food and it tastes good, and as you say, it's crispy and it's all the good flavors and so are in there. So eating these foods can cause inflammation in the body and oxidative stress that can actually lead to changes in DNA, as well as increased risk for mutations. And some of these mutations may include the mutation with the BRCA1, which is associated with breast cancer. And we know that we have a lot of breast cancers in Grenada, worldwide, but in Grenada, right? As well as prostate cancer, which is also one of the high numbers here in Grenada. You can also have tissue death, tissue damage going on in the body because of the high level of inflammation that people have. And sometimes we don't always know that we have inflammation unless we feel something in our bodies. But for most of us, there's a lot of inflammation going on in the body, but you don't just sense it.
So when you say inflammation, are you speaking about a puffy face or tight joints?
No,
not
necessarily. No. Sometimes it can be evident like that, but sometimes the inflammation is in the body. You may not feel well. You may feel tired. You may feel different little symptoms that you may have. It may not be something that you can physically, pick up on. Sometimes it can be because the GI system is all inflamed. So there are different types of inflammation that will go on in the body. And with all this inflammation, and so when people's body are inflamed and your body's like under stress, and this can lead to the development of other chronic conditions like the diabetes and because your body is just not functioning to the maximum, the way it is meant to function, right? And it could be because we're eating out a lot, we're purchasing a lot of foods outside, and we just don't know the dangers of some of the things. And I'm not saying that purchasing food, you shouldn't purchase food. I'm just saying this so that people are aware, so that we're making informed choices as to whether we want to buy this food, whether we know for sure what this person is doing when they're preparing the food, because people have to look at their bottom line, which is the profits. So you're not necessarily going to throw off the oil, all the time.
Which leads to my next question. As you said, when people go to purchase foods, they're not necessarily asking the vendor or the person selling it at the restaurant, hey, when was the last time you changed the oil? We're hoping that there's best practices.
Yes.
But what we do know, we have food vendors and people who sell food when the oil starts to go low, because that's what it's supposed to do. They pour in fresh oil into it, so it gets back that goldeny kind of color, but it's a mixture of the new and the old oil. Is that okay?
No, that's even worse, because when you mix the new oil with the old oil, it speeds up that action of the oil breaking down. So you have more of these compounds, more of these substances being produced that can cause ill health to the person who is actually depending on that food. Some people don't cook at all. Some people can cook, some people choose not to cook, some people don't have the time to cook. So there may be different reasons why people are purchasing food. Some people buy food every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So for people who are having to buy lunch or buy meals so often outside, it's even more important that they pay particular attention to